And we are live. What's going on, everybody? My name is Shantanique Langston, better known as Neek Speaks. I am your personal and professional relationship coach. I'm also the creator of the Relationship Conference. And welcome to another episode of Candid Conversations. And tonight I have, of course, the ambassadors of the Relationship Conference. They've been with me since 2018, a long time. And I'm grateful for them. They have proven their loyalty to the movement and also to me. And I appreciate them so much. Louis and Vanessa Carter, they've been married over 20 years, and this year will be 25 years. So you definitely want to tap in with us tonight. Make sure you share this video with everybody you know who's dealing with marriage, or they're in a relationship, or if they're single and they're considering a partner. This is a conversation that you do not want to miss tonight. We're giving you guys a sneak peek of our conference during these episodes. Our theme is overcoming generational trauma. And when it comes to marriage, a lot of people deal with trauma in their marriage. But if you're single, you definitely want to tap into this because you want to save yourself the trouble in dealing with your stuff before you decide to connect with someone and also deal with their stuff. So tonight, no, without further ado, I want Louis and Vanessa to go ahead and introduce themselves.
Um, my name is Louis Carter Sr. I'm a child of God. I'm a husband. I'm a father. By profession, I'm an educator. That's who I am. I think the greatest responsibility I have is that of a husband and a father. I think everything else flow out of that. That's what I cherish most dear to my life. Um, Vanessa.
Hello, yes, my name is Vanessa Carter. I am a mother of four. As Shantanique stated earlier, married. It will be year 25 for us. I am an educator, over 20 plus years in education. Just excited about the journey here with the Relationship Conference, and excited about what God is even doing in our marriage. So here we are. Let's go.
Yes, and congratulations. Y'all forgive me. I am still sharing the broadcast. You guys definitely want to make sure you're letting people know about this particular conversation because I have seen them evolve in the past couple of years of just knowing them and being a part of the conference. And I've also have grown myself in my single lane. And it's a testament that you can withstand any storm by based off of watching them grow and develop. And I want to first, before we get into the conversation, I want to first ask you both, what do you believe is your superpower? Who want to go first?
I'll go first. Now, when you say what's my superpower, is that in regards to relationship or just overall?
Um,
Just in
I
general.
would say overall, I know everyone else have been answering that question and they were leaning towards their like relationship. So if you want to do a relationship, stay on that wave like everybody else, you can.
So I would say two things. I would say personally, I feel like I believe my superpower is patience, and as it pertains to relationship, I think communication is my superpower.
I guess mine is the ability to listen and then to respond. So communication, being able to listen. I think that's vital in relationships. Your ability to listen and communicate.
Yes, and that is the one of the pieces that that's the main piece that Louis and Vanessa will be covering during the conference is effective communication. I know a lot of people use that phrase or topic very vaguely, but when we talk about effective communication, we're talking about having tough conversations, how to have those conversations in a safe environment. So, and making the other person not feel so on edge, but also letting them know that you can have difficult conversations and making sure that person know that you are safe. that you can be vulnerable. But again, it takes skill to do that, and it takes practice. So those are things that again we'll be covering during the conference. It's going to be on Saturday, March 23rd, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., and that'll be virtually. So you don't have to leave your house. You don't have to fly to Detroit. You can be right where you are in your car, in your living room, or at your workplace. Hopefully, you're on mute so no one can hear you, and you can tune in during the conference. All the information about the conference and how you can save when you register today is under the description below. So, without further ado, I want to ask you, why did you guys decide to go into the field with working with people when it comes to their relationships and marriage? Why did you guys decide to do that?
I would say for me, just knowing what we received during our counseling, during our counseling time before we got married, our premarital counseling was just very helpful, and all of the different things that we covered in regards to communicating, out serving one another, um, understanding nonverbal and verbal communication. It just, the things that we grew from, it's like always, able to drop that nugget to someone else. When you see someone else struggling in their relationship, just the things that we, of course, went through in ours, and being able to help someone in that regards. Because marriage is a beautiful thing.
I wouldn't necessarily say that we chose it. I think maybe it chose us. Um, because on a personal note, for me, I only give advice when asked. So, but I've learned. We've counseled a few couples through the years, and I've learned a lot. And I'm hesitant in doing premarital counseling at this stage in my life. I'm hesitant because you can give good advice, sound advice, but at the end of the day, the people have to make the decision. And when they make the decision, are they willing to do the grunt work to get to the place where your marriage is a beautiful thing? Because it's work. And what I've observed lately is a lot of people are preparing for a wedding day and not for a marriage. So they want to do all the prerequisites to say I'm married, but you're not preparing for marriage. You're preparing for a wedding day, for a day to say I do and to dress up. And it's more than that. It's more than a pomp and circumstance. So
Oh, wait, you said a mouthful, Louis. I hope y'all are tapping into this because there are so many people who are so fascinated with the wedding that they're forgetting about after the wedding. And a lot of them are not getting the right counsel in the beginning. That's the other part, too. A lot of them just going to the courthouse, but they're not thinking about, okay, what's going to happen afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then they're not surrounding themselves with the right type of company. So, with that being said, I want to talk about singles really quick. What should they do to prepare themselves for a healthy relationship? What are some things that singles can be doing now? I know things have changed, but I believe that some things don't. You have there's I think there's something, or not even so much a funnel or like a step by step, but there are just some tangible things that we should do that people who were before us, who are still married over 30, 40, 50 years, they got something. They know something that actually works. So, what is something that is not being taught that you think that singles should be considering when it comes to a relationship, a healthy one?
I think singles need to do an internal cleansing.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes internal cleansing or introspection is something that sometimes you can't do alone. For those who may have went through some type of trauma, I would suggest some type of counseling to work through all of that, so that when you meet Mr. Right or Miss Right, you don't bring the trauma from your past relationships into a fresh situation. So sometimes you
That's
have to
right.
go through and do an internal cleansing to make sure you're good. And then once you're good and you're whole, then I think you're at the place where you can begin to date again. And I think so many people they leave one situation and they carry the trauma into another situation because they're never made whole from their past traumas.
And I would say for me, just establishing some non-negotiables and setting some boundaries, when you're looking for that person or you're in search, having some boundaries, and also having an accountability partner, somebody that you can flush some things through and talk some things through, just seeking advice from someone who's been in the dating, or in that lane, or being married, just hanging around people that are doing what you want to do.
Yes, and I concur with everything you all said. And for those that know, I'm single, so and ready to mingle. Okay, and I think it's important that we do have a time where we are cleansing ourselves, so that we are not carrying, like Lewis was saying, we're not carrying that weight into something. If we're thinking about being serious with another person, because it's not fair to them that you're not doing the work, but they're doing the work, and you want them to help you. It's important that you do that groundwork yourself. And it's a beautiful thing when you're actually healing. And I think another part is missing when it comes to getting into a relationship, or even a marriage. That grieving part. If someone passed away, you got to be willing to navigate through those things. So I think if you start learning on how to heal in your singleness, in your traumas, even when it comes to grief with your family, or even grieving of relationships or friends, it'll be easy when you are now partnered with someone else. Because we're going to talk about even how to transition if you are getting divorced, or also if you're transitioning from being a married person to a widow or widower. We'll talk about that in a second. But boundaries, if you don't have boundaries as a single person, you are doing life wrong. You have to have boundaries. I know where I am in my life, I have to have them, especially with all other things and moving parts in my life. So you got to take better care of yourself in your singleness. I think you're more attractive when you take care of yourself, and become a more suitable person. I think, because now if you're going to the doctor on a regular basis, you're considered a suitor. If you're a person who don't go to the doctor, girl, run. Because you got to go make sure you are okay, you're well. No one wants to be with somebody who doesn't take care of themselves. I know I don't. Okay, so that's not fair that I'm doing the work and he's not. So I'll just leave it at that. My next question would be for those who are in relationships. What are some things, like you were saying earlier, Lewis? I want to stay on that same vein. People who are looking to get married, but not for the work, not to build together, not to be in partnership together, but they're getting married from a selfish point of view or stage of life. So, what are your I would say, what is a word of advice to people who are in a marriage and they may be in that selfish place?
I think for a lot of people, they like the ideology of of marriage, but and sometimes people have phenomenal examples of marriages. But what you have to realize going in is that when you see somebody, you see them like, for instance, you see us this 25 years down the line, or 30 years later after meeting each other. So it's going to take time to develop that relationship, and for that relationship to mature and evolve into something that you're like, wow, I can't believe we're at this point. It takes time because there's a maturation period for both individuals that go into a marriage. So know that it's a process. That's the best word I can use for marriage. If somebody was asking me, how would you define marriage? I would define it as a process, a process of evolution, because you have two individuals who are two whole individuals whose goal is to unite and become one, but their singleness of who they are, their identity don't change because of their marriage. But you all are evolving and growing as you walk this journey called marriage together.
Yeah, that is so good. And I heard someone earlier say that marriage refines you.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that statement?
You know,
I think that as Louis said, as you develop and as you mature, you are growing into a person, because I'm not the same person that I was 10 years ago. You know, I'm not that same person. I've grown, I've matured. And we were having a conversation with his sister night ago, and she had asked a question. And as I was, just processing the question, it all went back to being mature. And I think a lot of people, when they get into marriage, they don't grow up, they don't mature, and they stay stuck in that whatever age they are, and that brings a lot of conflict and challenges within a relationship when you're not growing and you're not evolving, you're not maturing. So definitely the word refined, being made over yearly, and we do a yearly assessment at our anniversary. We sit down, we have lunch, and we talk about like things like what do we need to work on, what went good for the year, what's something we can change. We do that yearly, and I don't know how many other couples may do that, but it's helped us to just go over the year, work out right. Let's try this different, let's not do that anymore. So
and I think marriage is an institution where it's not always Burger King. You get to have your way.
compromise.
At some point, you have to compromise. Number one. Then number two, you got to look at what's best for the overall couple.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I may have as the man, I may be the head or the one that's responsible for the relationship. But because I want to make one decision, it may not be the best decision for the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times you have to consider what's best for the relationship, for the totality of the relationship, and not just because I want to have my way.
I hope y'all heard this because you just hit it on the nail. Do what is best for the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I tell my students this, and I have told some past clients this, that the decision you make, people are going to either make or break based on your relationship or based on your decision you make. So whatever decision you make, you got to make sure that it's for the betterment of the relationship. So if you decide to cheat, you're not only cheating on your wife, you cheat on your kids. You got to think about all the people that's going to suffer. We see this in movies. It plays out a lot in the movies. Our examples are right in front of us. And a lot of people do not care because they are operating from a selfish place. And my former pastor said it best. He said, if you are no, he said that relationships are not for selfish people. They are for selfless people. But we have more people who are in relationships who are selfish than I believe who are selfless. And they find themselves stuck and ready to divorce after their 6 months of marriage because they came into this thing again, being selfish. So this was good what you just said. Those who are tuning in, my name is Shantanique Langston. I'm your personal and professional relationship coach. You are tuned into an episode How to Evolve in Your Marriage. If you have questions, feel free to tap in. Use the comment section. We cannot see you. I see a few people that's watching. What's going on? I have Louis and Vanessa Carter on, and they are a part of the relationship conference team, and they've been with me for since 2018, and they are approaching 25 years of marriage. So y'all definitely want to continue to tap in. Make sure you share this with all your friends. We are almost done with this segment, so I want to ask you one more question. This is for people who are considering divorcing. I know you coach a lot of couples, so what is your advice to someone who is considering divorce or separation? What is one piece of advice you'll give them tonight?
Um, my advice would be: do not make a decision based upon anger or your feelings, because feelings are deceptive. and they change. Whatever decision you make, let it be a sound decision based upon concrete information and not based upon what somebody else said or what somebody else think, but based upon where you are in the relationship. Number one. Number two would be um, simple question: are you sincerely finished with the relationship? I just dealt with a friend who's going through that process, and he was not through with the relationship, but his wife was, and so it's amazing. We'll talk about that in depth at the conference about just different dynamics of relationships and where people are. And thirdly, ultimately, whatever you decide to do, let it be your decision and not based upon the influence of someone else. Vanessa?
I would agree with all of what you said, but I know most importantly that second comment that you made in regards to is this the decision that you really want to make, without your emotions being in the way? And then thirdly, what you said about making sure it's your decision and not based off of a conversation that you had with someone else, but really truly deep down inside, do you really, really, really want to leave that person? And then the other question is, can you stand being without that person and seeing that person with someone else? Are you able to really move through life like that?
And I
Will
think
we?
that's the $1 million question. And a lot of times, I know relationships are different, but piggyback on one relationship, you be with a person and you go through so much with a person that when you finally get to a place where you're beginning to achieve success, you throw in a towel, and like Vanessa said, then you see them 6 months from now, and things that you had started helping him or her develop and invest in, it begins to grow and gets to a place of momentum. And now you see somebody else in your spot reaping the benefits from what you helped create.
And are you okay with
And
that?
are you
Seeing that?
okay with that?
Well, I hope y'all are hearing this tonight. This is so good. Y'all come to the conference. I'm trying to tell y'all because, and I'm so glad that we're doing the conference different this year. It's not going to be breakouts. It's going to be all inclusive. Everyone's going to be able to glean from every single speaker, so you're not going to miss out on anything when it comes to childhood trauma, sexual trauma, effective communication, finance, um, knowing, identifying your family versus relatives. You'll be able to get all of this during the conference, because I know last time we were virtual, Pete, when I was coming into your workshop with the married
Ready?
couples and I was with the single folks,
Ready?
I was like, man, the singles need to be in here listening to this stuff, because a lot of the stuff that Louis and Vanessa always, the gems they drop, is beneficial for everybody. And not just them, but other people we had as well, other couples we've had on as well. They will always dropping out nuggets, but I will always say that we can glean from one another, no matter if you're single, no matter if you are married, in relationship. I hate the biases about people saying that, if you're single, you can't give advice to someone who's married and all this stuff. I don't listen to none of that mess, because I know who I hang around. I know who my help come from, who speaks to me, give me revelation about relationships. That's why I'm successful in my singleness, because I walk upright. So I don't listen to none of that stuff. I listen to what God tell me to do, and I'm in a lane where no one is. No one's here to really truly help people in this light. What I mean by walking through the valley with them. So we are here to pull you, to hold your hand during the conference, to help you understand that you can heal, but you have to be willing to do the work. And that's what we're here for. We're here to help you do the work step by step. And the first step is to register to the conference. We're going to be virtual. All right. And not only are we going to be virtual, you'll be able to eat as well. You're probably thinking, what? I get to eat too? Yes. We have partnered with Panera Bread, and you'll be able to order online and eat at your house, wherever you are, during the conference. So I want you guys to definitely think about considering coming to the conference. You're going to be amazed by what the speakers are going to be sharing. I will also add in a digital workbook. You'll be able to follow every single step of the conference, and it's going to be hands on. So even though we're not going to be together, but we'll still be virtual as a community. So I'm excited about the conference, and I want you guys to share with the people why you think they should come, and
I
your experience too. Your experience.
uh, well, I always walk away with some nuggets to put in my toolbox to help me in my day-to-day life, and as relationship and marriage, as well as dealing with people, just individuals in the workplace, in the marketplace, and even sometimes with those that are part of community of faith that I belong to. I would say I believe people should come, or an individual should come who is looking to be refreshed, informed, and really renewed in the topics of relationship, because the conference deals with many facets of relationships, and it's for a number of situations: singles, married, those that may be thinking about divorcing, those who may be thinking about getting married. So I would say it's multifaceted, and you leave with the wealth of information.
And I would say for me, the relationship conference, just the one that we had just this past year, um, one of the speakers, Andre Charlie, he was on, I want to say a couple weeks ago on Candid Conversation, and he was dropping nuggets just in regards to relationships and how you deal with your mate and those type of things. And I walked away with some information that helped me, in our relationship. So the experience, the meeting of the people, the speakers, just the involvement, it's just a wonderful experience. And I encourage you all to come and be a part of this wonderful conference that's happening in March. You will walk away just uplifted and ready to take on whatever it is that you're dealing with. So I encourage you to come.
I truly appreciate that. Every time we get together, I always share this story how Vanessa was she was the one that was coming to my very first conference just to speak. And at that time I didn't know Louis and he was coming to support. But let me tell y'all, at the end of that first conference, both of them were on the panel and had everybody in tears. Okay. So I just thank God for, again, that right there was a testament of a beginning that I did not know was going to bring us to this point. So I appreciate you all so much for being a part of the conference. It means so much to me. It truly, truly does. And not only do we have speakers, we have a special guest who's going to be joining us. I'm not sure if anyone knows, David McCullough. He is the owner of Inception here in Michigan, the first mental health gym here. He's been featured almost everywhere. A lot of celebrities have come to his facility. So I'm super grateful for this new connection. So God is moving when it comes to collaborating with business owners. And I'm so grateful that God is extending network at this time. And so he actually said yes to being a part of our conference as a featured speaker. So I'm excited for him to share some things, because a lot of the stuff, the traumas we've gone through, a lot of it is locked up in our ankles, in our body. And so he's going to be talking about those different things, and you don't want to miss him. So again, the information is under the description below. You can go to my website at www.neekspeaks.com. Again, I am Neek Speaks on all social media platforms. You can follow me on Instagram, here on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok, even though I don't be on TikTok as much. And then, of course, you guys make sure you follow the Carters. It's Carter. Wait, tell the people, I don't want to butcher it.
Carter Precise.
You got to spell it.
IG.
Spell it.
CarterPrecise.
So again, y'all, thank y'all so much for tuning in tonight. That is our time. Make sure you guys tune in for our final conversation with Desi Johnson. He is going to be talking about shifting the mindset of poverty because for generations we have been in what poverty, living in this state of mind. So he's going to help us to unlock that this year with our finances, having a better relationship with our finances. So we're not just here talking about being booed up. We're talking about having healthy relationships all across every area of our life, our physical health, our financial
Come
health,
here.
and
Come
also our
here.
help with one another. So again, thank you all for watching tonight. Make sure you guys, if you're not doing nothing right now, head over to IG. We're gonna be on there for about 10 minutes and then we're gonna wrap it up for tonight. But until next time, y'all have a good weekend and I'll talk to you all in my next video. Y'all stay blessed.